I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me. Today's video is going to be another tips type video. I'm going to be sharing my practical tips for going to the ER or getting admitted during a pandemic. This is something that I've heard in support groups quite a bit, that people are really nervous if it gets to the point with their chronic illness that they have to go in and be seen. Like, what should you do? What should you be prepared for? How are things going to operate? I mean, there have been so many questions, and I know most of us really would prefer to stay out of the ER, but I landed there and I really was so unprepared because I was so dead set against ever having to go during the pandemic. But sometimes you have to go because the benefits outweigh the risk. And it's a scary thing. So I'm going to give you my tips, and I hope that it'll at least bring somebody some comfort and some help. And if you have any additional tips, please leave them in the comments below. All right. So number one, I would recommend that you first contact your doctor and make sure, okay, is this a smart move, especially if you are immunosuppressed, or you have immune system issues, or you're at higher risk, which I think most of the chronic illness population is at higher risk. And if you can, also call the ER, find out their protocols. Are you allowed to have somebody with you? Everything varies, to my knowledge, from state to state, from hospital to hospital. So not everywhere is the same. And then another great question to ask is, can you wait somewhere where there are less people if it's really crowded? This is just a great general rule of thumb. If it's overly crowded and you have a good reason, like you're immunosuppressed, it's a good idea to find out if you can wait somewhere else. This way you don't end up contracting something while waiting. Number two, this one I feel like is common sense for everybody, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. Have your med list, allergy list, hospitalization list, surgery list, protocol list, illness list, all the lists. I also have a list now with all my doctors' names, all the, correct spelling, and their phone numbers, because everybody thinks I've memorized all my doctors' last names completely with the spelling. And I know them, I know how to say them, but I can't spell them all. Somebody was asking me, well, you don't know how to spell their name? I was like, their name's very long. I'm lucky I can say it. All right, number three, expect the unexpected. Likely this ER trip, if you're going during the pandemic, and likely even right after when things are opening up and going back to normal, it's not going to be the same as the last ER trip you had or the last admission you had. Expect the unexpected. Be prepared to give people a lot of grace. Be prepared to have a lot of patience, but also be prepared to be your own advocate, especially if somebody else is not able to be with you. If you're not getting the right care, the right treatment, you need to speak up and say something. The virus, though, as we all know, has really just changed the medical world in general, and we all need to keep that in mind when we're going, to the ER. And part of this is normal life for us, but now we have to kind of, readjust to it. Number four, if you're admitted, or just, if you have your own room, because I know sometimes in the ER you don't always have your own room, anytime you're in the hallway, I would recommend personally wearing a mask. I just think it's safer. My hospital apparently has that protocol. They just forgot to tell us. And sometimes people were coming in and I did not always have a chance to grab my mask, so then they had to hunt one down for me. But regardless, when you're out, same rules as if you're out in, the grocery store. You're going to wear your mask and be careful. Number five, lean on your support system. Even if they can't physically be here with you, make sure to reach out. You need emotional support, especially, like I said, the hospitals are a completely different place right now. You're going to need the extra support, the extra encouragement. And even if you don't feel like you need that, sometimes a distraction is great. You don't feel you need a distraction because you're just doing that great emotionally right now? That's okay. Reach out and encourage somebody else. This way, you can pass the time and ease your boredom. Number six, when at all possible, record gratitude. So I think this is just really important, just in general, and I've talked about it a lot on my channel. Gratitude really does affect your attitude. It helps you with perspective and stuff. It is a great tool in battling depression and anxiety. So I really like to be as proactive as possible with my mental health, especially when I'm in the hospital, because it's super easy, guys, to fall into depression or, have anxiety rear its ugly head because you're kind of a lot of times just in the bed and you can't really do much. And it's kind of like the same thing day in and day out in the hospital. Um, and it can be like tedious. So I think, being a step ahead and practicing gratitude is always a great thing. Number 7, consume positive content when you can. I think this is just a great general rule of thumb if you're somebody who lives with chronic illness, to be honest. Negative content obviously isn't helping anybody. But the more positive stuff, it really does help, again, with your mindset, your perspective, and it's just a wonderful thing. It helps, with mental health, and that can in turn, impact your physical health. So, and I'm not suggesting that that's going to cure you, but at least then you don't have to deal with other stuff on top of, hopefully, a little bit less of the mental health stuff while you're battling the physical stuff, hopefully. And, because sometimes when both hit at once, it's just a lot, at least for me. So, number 8, ask lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of questions. Speak up. Let them know what you need. Yes, it is extremely, extremely awkward at times and uncomfortable, but you're worth it. Communication is key, and you know what? If they're not communicating with you, it's your responsibility and your right to go over their head and find out if there's a patient advocate, a supervisor, or somebody else who can help you out. Especially for those of you who do have rare diseases, you need to be really educated and be able to communicate properly with all the medical professionals in your life. So I do hope that this was kind of sort of helpful. I know some of these tips are general ER or admission tips, but I felt like they were worth repeating. If you guys have any tips or tricks or hacks to get through hospital admissions right now, I do want to point out too, which I might have said in another video, I'm not sure, nothing was allowed in or out of the hospital for me. That I actually did say, I think.